It is good to be back home after January and February missions. It's actually hard to believe that we are 1.5 months into the year 2022. So much has happened. The Lord has opened so many doors, been to so many places, but it is really nice to come back home and just rest, relax, and reflect on what the Lord has been doing and what the Lord has been saying. And you know, this has been very meaningful mission because it is coming at the background of GOA 30-year celebrations. We'll be winding up our celebrations in Gilgil at the GEO International Conference. Very excited to hear confirmations from our partners from Switzerland and from the United States and from the rest of the nations in Africa. We are looking forward to a very exciting time. The year began the first week by going to Uganda. My heart is still so much overwhelmed by the goodness of God. I especially learned a lot about refugees being happy in a foreign land. With those women that we empowered there at the Methodist, Nabragara Methodist women, to economically to be able to learn their lives in that refugee place when they are still happy. That still remains in my mind. Jeremiah 29 clearly indicates that life must continue. And this is the message that I took to the women of Nabragara Methodist Church. The life has to continue in a foreign land. They've got to continue generating income. And so Beautiful Feet with Joy Griffin empowered them to continue living happily and normally from an economic standpoint, to be able to take care of their families by helping them do some business by starting a shop. We think a lot about the situation of God's people in Babylon, when at one point they reached a point where they could not sing new songs in Babylon because they remembered Zion, and they sat by the rivers of Babylon and cried and wept. So a message to the people in refugee camps and who are not in their home, that instead of spending all the time mourning and crying and losing the opportunity to worship, that look for opportunities to worship God right where you are. And the joy in these women really inspired us. I want to really thank our team there, Madam Esther Nambwire. Madam Esther Nambwire took us to this church and connected us with these women. And since we left there, she has been going there to help them to know how to keep their books of accounts, to help them understand the business laws, language because this is something they haven't done before. And I want to speak to people who have been looking for opportunities to do missions. You don't have to be a preacher to come and volunteer with GOA. You don't have to be a preacher to be on mission with GOA. You can come with your business skills. Can you imagine refugee women who wants to do business, buy and sell in a shop, and by just Madam Esther Nambwire being there for an hour helps them to understand how to make profit loss, how to keep books, how to calculate their own salary to be able to pay themselves. These are things that you as a Christian can do, even if you are not a pulpit person. And in Uganda, I also came across many young people who are looking for mentors, preachers. They feel called. They feel they know the language. They feel they understand their culture. And some of them have even started ministries. But they are looking for mentors. They are looking for people who will help them not learn by making mistakes. I do remember this young man in Courage who is learning to be a teacher of early childhood education. A great heart, very passionate. When he heard me talk about the needs in Garissa and introducing missionary Peter Wagula and how he is helping the people there resolve conflicts, He was so excited, he just came back to me during break with 10,000 Uganda money and said, please send this one to missionary Peter Wagura. Now these are young people, very young people indeed, who want to do the right thing. They want to make a difference. They want to change history, but they need mentors. They also need people who may not necessarily mentor. They may not come to Africa, they may not preach, but they have financial resources. They need financial resources to be able to plant those churches, to be able to travel to the schools, to be able to go to the places where God is calling them. And I do believe that God does not have a shortage of resources. He doesn't. He just needs more stewards. The shortage is with stewards, not with God's resources. So Uganda was great, equipping those leaders to spread the gospel and looking forward to see how God is going to use them to reach their own nations.